Show. Today, we're starting our conversation by exploring the heart of human rights law, a subject that shapes not only our legal landscapes but the very freedoms that define us. With decades of experience riding the intersections of international mandates and local justice. Attorney Yugeshnee Govender, director of the Lambton practice at Malahlela Co Inc. Attorneys, give us a unique insight into how these laws are applied into our current political and societal framework. So, Miss Yugeshnee, welcome to the Vooka Breakfast Show. A very nice and warm welcome to you. And how are you doing this morning, ma'am?
Thank you so much. I am doing well. How are you this morning?
We are very good and excited to have you here on this beautiful, cold Wednesday morning. And we're just trying to keep our viewers at home as warm as they can be. So, says here, for someone who is watching, they say you have long been at the forefront of challenging cases and legal reforms, advocating for laws that protect every citizen, especially when these laws meet the pressure of political turbulence. But what do these legal guarantees really mean for our everyday lives? And how do they navigate the waters between safeguarding freedoms and meeting international expectation? Right. So I think right now we need to dig into some of the reflective questions that can hit our viewers right there at home. So, especially in the progressive youth, right? I'd like to pose this question and invite your thoughts along the way, ma'am. So, young people are leading the charge in digital activism. Do you think social media gives you more power in shaping legal and political conversation, or it's just noise?
So, social media is a megaphone and a minefield. Um, it gives young people the power to challenge injustices instantly, spotlighting issues on mainstream media. Um, Basically, power without structure can be chaotic. Without legal follow through, campaigns can fade. So, while it's powerful, social media needs to be paired with legal literacy and a civic engagement to ensure that the contents that they post is within the law.
Ah, thank you for that. So, one, will actually hear this and say human rights laws sound like something handled by government. But how do they actually impact our everyday life, our education, a job prospect, or freedom to speak up, ma'am?
Okay, human rights laws, they are deeply personal. They protect your right to quality education,
Mm,
to be treated fairly when applying for a job, and even your ability to post your opinions online without fear.
yeah.
They are not just abstract. It's basically, example, if a school expels you unfairly, or if your boss discriminates you, or whether a police officer detains you unlawfully. So whenever you feel silenced, overlooked, or mistreated, human rights law is what should have protected you.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And we know that this one, it tends to spotlight on practical impact, man, and it comes to these laws influencing real opportunities and personal freedoms. So now, one would ask, if you are faced with the risk of political backlash for speaking out, would you still do it? And what would make you feel protected enough to take the stand?
This one is a very difficult question.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. The reason is because no one should be choosing between safety and the truth. What empowers people is the trust in the system. People should trust our laws. People should trust our constitution. People should trust our system. Right now, we need reforms that guarantee whistleblowers protection. We need to ensure legal aid is accessible to everyone. We need to see transparent investigations into political repressions. So basically, having the courage is very essential for this point.
Yeah, very, very. Because I think this one is it does not only examine individual resolve, but also raises issues about the safety nets, legal frameworks that should provide in times of controversy. So many young South Africans feel disconnected from legal and political systems. What will make the law feel more relevant and accessible to you?
So we need to decolonize the legal education. we need to simplify law as possible. We need to make it accessible in a classroom, teach it in the school syllabus. We UNISA has a street law program. I've once joined the program, and basically a group forms together and they go out into the public, and they go and teach people at churches or any other areas that, hey, this is the law. Hey, this is abuse, or hey, this is how you're going to manage your funds. So I think that program is excellent, and I think that we should have more of such programs so people can have access to the law. Social media as well should also blast out things about the law. People should know that the laws exist. It needs to feel like the law serves everyone, and this is very important.
Yeah, people should feel like the law exists. So now, how can our system evolve to truly serve the people?
So law needs to become much more accessible. Um, as a law graduate, as an attorney today, I know the difficulties of just obtaining law information. So imagine a layperson, someone that doesn't really understand things. I've dealt with clients firsthand. I've dealt with deceased estates matters. I've dealt with people that don't understand the process. So these things need to be explained. These things need to be understood. Just because you go through a situation and you went through it, now you need to go and ask that person, hey, what happened in the situation, and get that knowledge. That's not the proper way. The proper way should be like how we taught maths at school or how we taught English at school. Law should be taught as well. I mean, that's the only way a country can grow, because if everyone knows that they are law-abiding citizen and these are the laws, then everyone's going to follow them.
Yeah, very interesting. I think this is one of the conversations we've always wanted to have right here on the Breakfast Show, just to let people know that laws are there and laws do exist, and they can practice them so that they can feel protected in their own country. So, are human rights laws truly effective, or do they only matter when people already have power to fight for them?
So this is a yes and a no answer.
Mm,
Yes, because privileged people have human rights. They can afford an attorney. They can afford to assert them. And no, because the poor obviously cannot afford, to protect their human rights. But there are legal aid and pro bono.org that can assist with these things. It's just that people, they don't have access to these things. They don't know that these things exist. They don't know that there's a salary threshold, household threshold that you need to earn so that you can access free legal services. Many firms as well offer free consultations. People just need to be aware of these things. It's just that the advertisement, in terms of the legal field and the sphere, is terrible. It's not great. If we advertise us lawyers, we feel like we're touting, which is against the law. So if we try to like get a client and inform them of their rights, it could be seen. There's a very fine line. It's a very fine line that people will say, hey, this person's trying to tout this client. So lawyers altogether just avoid that, and we focus on courts. We focus on doing our work, and in terms of making the law accessible, that is a very major problem. So human rights being effective, it's a yes or a no. It all depends what a person knows. So it's basically what education system you come from, where you come from, how you understand the law, what have ordeals have you faced in the past. So it's being exposed to that, and then once you know, hey, there's laws that protect me. If someone infringe my human rights, or someone's unlawfully arrested, they will be like, okay, this is unlawful, this is not fair, so let's fight for this.
Very interesting. And right now, I just want us to go to a conversation that will lead us and force us to speak about equity. Right. So now, is our legal framework inherently biased towards a powerful, or can it evolve to become a shield for all of the people?
um At the moment, I believe that our legal framework really protects our people. I believe our legal framework is quite strong. It's just that there are officials and bodies like police officers or court officials that just mistreat the normal lay person, which shouldn't be that case.
Mm,
Knowledge is power,
mm,
and I believe that people should have the right to know what is going on and what's going on in a matter. It should be made public. I believe that this framework is it's a good framework, but it really needs more work on it.
yeah. Ah, very interesting. Knowledge is power, and people should know how to practice that power within their communities or within their own countries. So, now if we look at the global movements, you have your Black Lives Matter, climate protests, and student led uprisings. Do you feel South African youth are as outspoken as their peers abroad? Why and why not?
Okay, so my opinion about South African youth, I absolutely love them. The reason for this is because these guys are on fire. These guys are really on fire, facing load shedding, facing unemployment, facing inequality, and they still do movements like fees must fall. Their voice is still heard. I believe that even though they're trying to survive in this country, especially in this financial crisis, I believe that their voice is still heard. I believe they have courage. And I believe that they are basically the future of this country. It's just that everyone needs to walk in the right direction. Everyone needs to walk in the right path. The old and the young needs to combine. The old needs to educate the young. The young needs to educate the old about certain
Mm,
things as well. Everyone needs to form hand in hand and fight. So yes, the South African youth is fire.
mm,
They have the energy, they have the strength. I believe that they can really turn things around for this country. In terms of education system, in terms of behavior in our systems, court systems or the police, I believe that the youth can really bring about a change. They can mobilize things if they just put their mind to it and make a huge impact on certain things. They just need to have proper planning and ensure that everything is, up to speed, up to order, basically,
yeah.
and legal.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying, it really sparks, inspiration and motivation to a lot of young people. As this month, you're going to be looking into celebrating the Youth Month. So I think this month can be used to, the energy of the youth can be used towards and applying change in our country and practicing what the law has to offer. And of course, becoming law abiding citizens. Right. So, for people who are watching right now and listening, Miss Govender, can you break down for our listeners exactly how the Extradition Act of 1962 is supposed to safeguard human rights while allowing South Africa to meet its international legal obligations?
Okay, so this act, it's basically asking South Africa to cooperate with the international criminal justice. This act assists in preventing abuse overseas. It makes sure that a person doesn't go back to their home country and get the death sentence, for example. So this act is there to be vigilant, um, to be basically the eyes to ensure that uh, foreigners in this country are not treated unfairly. They're not detained unlawfully. They still have rights. It's a combination of human rights. It's a combination of international human rights, and these all come together to protect people as a human being.
No, that is very lovely. Oh, hi, by the way, I go by the name of Afiberry. So I heard you say that you love the youth of SA and in terms of the things that they stand for. And then one of the unfortunate things that is currently happening with the youth of SA is basically the unemployment. So I wanted to ask from a lawyer's perspective, what disadvantage has it been on your side in terms of having up and becoming lawyers, coming to the industry? And I'm asking this because I have a friend who's a certified lawyer but is unfortunately not able to find employment.
So, to be honest, especially during the COVID times, law has become very saturated. The market for lawyers has been a lot. I've seen a meme once a few years back. They said in 2050, there's going to be more lawyers than anything else in the world. So I smiled, and like now we see that in reality. Speaking about just general unemployment, the rate is terrible. It seems like our country is not having certain plans for this unemployment youth. Um, I feel that more could be done. I genuinely feel more could be done. And I think that more provision should be placed. People, maybe the youth maybe could start businesses that they could maybe work hand in hand with others, so that we could grow the economy, they could grow themselves. It's a tough world out there, and everyone is genuinely trying. So I feel like doing something, educating yourself. I mean, example, your friend has your law degree, now she has her law degree. So I think the best thing for her to do is maybe try a master's, maybe pursue that, maybe learn something where she's extremely skilled. Example, conveyancing law, notary, um, or try something different. Maybe try deceased estates, or try something that will bring out her passion, bring out the spark in her. Education, there's no age limit for education. Just because she got a degree now and just because she's a qualified attorney doesn't mean it's the full stop. There's no such thing as the full stop. She should pursue further, and she should maybe start her own practice as well and try and help her community. Everyone chases money, of course. Everyone loves money. Everyone chases money. But we also need to remember that there's humans out there that needs us. There's people out there. We can't abuse people because we need money. We can't say, okay, guys, I'm sorry, I charge example 20,000 for this. No, no. We should give people the right to have access to law. We should allow people to have that freedom to say, okay, Yugi, can you please help me with this matter? And I say, okay, let me look at your matter. And I'll be like, okay, this is my charge. We can do a contingency fee agreement, or we can make some sort of plan. That's what Malahlela Co attorneys do. We try our best to assist our clients. So I mean, that's one of our methods. Basically practicing, basically improving ourselves, the youth as well. Your friend can definitely improve herself as well. Try and study further. Education is power.
Oh, thank you for that one. I heard that you were also talking about having basically payment plans for anybody that cannot
Mm.
possibly afford to pay the high low fees at that moment. So, what I wanted to ask is, what exactly qualifies a case as a pro bono case? Because I know that lawyers sometimes also do pro bono cases, but how exactly do you classify a pro bono case? And what's the process of anybody who wants to apply for a pro to actually have a lawyer handle their case pro bono?
So it all depends on how badly your human rights are infringed. An extent where, like, how can we protect you as lawyers, or how can we protect you as a human being? What power do I have as a lawyer to protect you? What skill do I have to protect this person? That is how I determine, okay, should this matter be pro bono? Should it not? I mean, what happens, example, you take a matter and it's pro bono, and then the client does have money, they just don't wish to pay. We also need to earn our livelihood. We need to live as well. We are also human beings just like them. So the determination factors, it's very thin, to be honest. It all depends on household income, whether they're employed or unemployed or not. Just last week, I took on a pro bono matter. It was a woman. She was working at a liquor store, and she got dismissed without a disciplinary hearing or anything of that sort. Her salary was it was very low. I'm not gonna lie, it was below 5,000. In fact, I felt very bad for her. And there's a husband involved, and I believe there's kids as well. So that is definitely a pro bono matter. For example, she's now like she asked for her outstanding salary, and these guys just dismissed her. they basically showed a video on camera, on the camera, and they said, hey, you stole. And in that video, it doesn't clearly show that, what, her hands was used to steal. It wasn't her. It was just her walking by, and they really, really insulted her. They made her feel low. They made her feel like she's not worth it. And they told her, pack your stuff and just go home. And then she approached someone else, and someone else approached me, and they're like, Yugi, what can we do? So what I didn't charge her a cent, and I said, okay, let's start with a letter. Let's send off a letter to these people. Let's do a demand. Let's demand for your outstanding salary. And I received a reply from these attorneys, from the liquor store attorneys. And on that letter itself, they mentioned UIF. So I'm like, okay, you guys are mentioning UIF. You guys are mentioning that you're paying for UIF. Where's the forms?
Mm.
These are things that normal people don't seem to understand. I mean, this woman, her name is Sarah, and she does not understand. Okay, this is UIF. This is your outstanding salary. This is what's due to you. This is disciplinary hearing. She did not understand this until I stepped in and said, "Hey, these are your rights." So only when I sent a letter, they employed a lawyer. I mean, they could afford a lawyer, but they couldn't afford to pay this poor girl her salary, which is so unfair. And this happens all the time where people are just dismissed. If they don't, if a lawyer, if an employer doesn't like your attitude or something, you're dismissed. It's not fair. People want to go home and feed their family. They want to go and live. And that matter was definitely a pro bono matter for me. I could not see any other way. There's no way I could have even said, hey, let me take 10% or 20% of your salary. It's not going to make me rich. I rather just, waive the entire thing completely and ensure that this person now has food for the month. Her, believe it or not, her outstanding salary was paid on Sunday morning. So I'm very grateful for that. But I'm now challenging the unfair dismissal. I'm challenging the part where the UIF forms are not signed. I'm not happy with that. I believe that her dismissal was completely unfair. She's not a thief. You don't embarrass someone like that and get away with it. So
Mm.
yes, that's an example of how I choose a pro bono matter.
Very, very good work that you're doing, for people outside there, to get the justice that they need, because we know that people come from different backgrounds and you know, um, uh, they do everything they can to make sure that their families are well fed, right? So, very, very good job that you're doing. So, I think one right now will see that there's so many loopholes that people don't really know how to practice their right, and they're missing a lot of things. That whenever you get in a workplace, there are certain things that you need to know as an employee. There are laws that you need to know. So, what do you think is being done to ensure that South African citizens know the law and they practice the law everywhere they go?
So to be honest, I'm in practice, and I feel like clients really don't know much about the law. They feel like, okay, I'm there to save them, I'm there to protect them. They pay the consult fee, or they trust in me, and I try my absolute best. I can't promise, hey, I'm going to get your person out, or hey, I'm going to get you your outstanding salary. I can't promise these things. I feel like the public should know more about laws. I feel like South African law should be incorporated into the schooling system, so that the kids, when they come out, they're like, hey, okay, I know this law, so they know, be a law abiding citizen. Don't abuse the law. Don't misuse the law. If someone arrests you illegally, you can follow through as well. Following through on certain things is also important. Like someone's unlawfully detained, you can question that. You don't have to be arrogant or egotistical. You can just know your rights, and you know how to use them in the proper way. So I believe there should be like more structure in terms of the law. I'm not sure if you remember a few years back. There was an initiative where South Africa was distributing the constitution for free. It was a small, tiny white books. I mean, things like that is excellent. This was maybe like about 10 years ago or something. I was very young at the time. So this was an excellent initiative. I think South Africa should do more of that. South Africa should basically go into certain areas in this country and, educate people of the system. Have example after church, maybe have a half an hour session where there's a lawyer in place and guys, this is what's abuse. Guys, protecting your husband and he's abusing you is not right to you. You know, oh guys, getting a divorce is not going to take away all your assets. You're not going to be homeless. No, like I think these things should be told to the public, because I mean, look at a woman, for example, married in community or property, or married even customary. These people think that if example they have to get a divorce, they're going to be kicked out, they're going to be in the street, there's no one to look after them, they're not going to get maintenance, the husband is not going to buy food, they're going to suffer basically. And these women stay with these men and get the abuse, and they get treated, mistreated, and they're not happy, but they live like this. And people like me, example, should go out there and be like, no, no, mama, it's okay, you can leave. It's okay. We can get you a divorce. And in your divorce, you're going to get 50% of this house. You can choose to sell it. You can choose to stay here. We can make an arrangement. You want maintenance? We can get you maintenance. You want spousal maintenance? Fine. You worried about the kids? No problem. We will try our best to ensure that you get your rights. But I mean, for example, a lot of people, they still stay with their abusive husbands. They're still stuck in situations. But I mean, there's no information out there to say, guys, you can leave. You can. It's okay. You're going to be safe. You're going to be protected. There's protection orders as well. You're going to be safe.
No, that's very amazing. So I don't know if I could create a hypothesis case for you. Is that okay? Just to
Okay.
basically also go maybe a bit deeper in terms of the human rights law, because I wanted to do this due to the whole pro bono case that you just talked about.
Mm.
So one thing that we've known in terms of the industry in South Africa, well, the entertainment industry to be precise, is that background actors don't have a foot in the industry in terms of if they do not get paid, there is no actually one could say proper legal implications for the agencies, because they're not even recognized by law to actually have those kind of background actors. So if you had a background actor approach you and said, okay, I have a case where I've been working for the certain agent and I've not been paid for over 6 months. And whenever I ask for my payments, they always say it's production. But I had a chance to meet up with somebody from the production and they say they paid the agency, but I haven't yet received my money. How is the person? How is the person facing that dilemma going to handle it in a law perspective so that they can end up getting their money? And is it possible to also possibly sue the agency for pain of suffering due to the fact that I've been asking for my money on endlessly, and me getting a response or getting it has been, well, in vain?
Okay. So in such a situation, I would say that they would need to do a letter demand. They would need to basically first step would be to approach the person, tell them, okay, this is their situation. They would like their outstanding salary, and if that failed, then they would basically do a letter of demand, approach an attorney to assist them with this. Thereafter, I mean, you mentioned that it's a 6 months. They haven't got a salary of 6 months, so 6 months is basically deemed to be a contract. They have legal rights. They are protected. They can definitely approach the CCMA in this matter and get the necessary assistance. I think that once they start the legal process, they can get the justice that they seek. Employers are not just protected, employees are protected as well. If there is an outstanding salary, it will be due to the person. They just need to show basic proof of everything.
Okay, so if they have all the basic proof, for example, they have text messages to show communication. They also have evidence of the emails that have been sent back to back, and nothing has been said. And the only thing that's been said is that no, we're still waiting for production. We're still waiting for production. Yet they still keep on booking people. So that means what I wanted to know, ne? this is a personal question, Bill. What I wanted to know is, can I still sue them and ask them for pain and suffering?
Look, it's not about pain and suffering. It's more about taking the matter to the CCMA or taking the matter to the Labour Court, depending on the quantum amount. Um, Taking the matter and maybe example, it's for example 20,000. You can approach the CCMA and say, guys, I need your assistance. Please, can you guys assist me for the outstanding salary? Do a normal letter of demand first. Give them maybe 14 days or 7 days, whatever you feel to be fit. Thereafter, approach the CCMA, warn them on your letter that you are going to approach the CCMA, and then let the matter be litigated. So the good thing about CCMA is that you don't need to actually have an attorney there. So that's an excellent part about CCMA, is that you can approach the CCMA and say, guys, please, can you guys help me out? I really need help. What forms do I fill? The clerks and stuff, everyone's quite friendly. You're not going to be like in a hostile environment. Um, Go and approach them and ask for their assistance. If you want an attorney involved, then the attorney can be involved in a situation, for example, where I've assisted with a pro bono matter and we want to escalate certain things. You know, me drafting the letter of demand, I mentioned certain things in that letter of demand that's very, intense. In fact, like what they, one of the responses that the attorneys told me is that uh, my client was basically massaging the manager
Mm.
um, in the business premises, and I mentioned that in my letter, and I said that is not allowed. You cannot do that in a workplace. So no. And then they said in their response that whatever the manager does is not their client, the owner's problem. And then I threw in the line of vicarious liability. I said, no, no, that's his manager. Who employed her? It's him.
Mm,
So he's liable. He's vicariously liable. He should know what's going on in his business. He's the owner. So this is one example where like employees just try and get away from these things. But yes, approaching a CCMA, approaching an attorney, approaching somebody that can assist with this matter will really, really help. You just need to make sure that someone's out there that can formulate the right answers. Someone that's excellent with drafting and someone that's very skilled. So that is what I've done. I mean, if you, example, have to write this letter, you're not going to remember certain principles or aspects or legal things or whatever, and then you're going to get yourself to send this and no response. But if I send this and I mention a few things, then I'm going to report them to the Department of Labor for deducting UIF. But there's no, I don't see anything. I don't see any proof of forms or anything. So if I can structure such a letter, I mean, I'm skilled. I'm knowledgeable in that sense. So yes, it's better to do it that way.
Ah, you know what, Miss Govender? I just hope that you can come again, man, and have this conversation, because I know this conversation won't end here. But I think because of time, we have to let you go. So, in terms of people reaching out for your services, where can they find you?
I'm in Lambton. I can do matters in Durban, Cape Town, or anywhere in the country. I am Malahlela Co attorneys. My name is Yugeshnee Govender. You can reach me basically on social media. If you see me, you can reach our firm, Malahlela Co attorneys, 8A Reed Lane, Germiston. It's based in Lambton, sorry, Lambton, Germiston. So you can reach us on that. We have an email address as well, yugi.men@hotmail.com. So we are available to the public. Yes, we are there if you guys need assistance.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for that, and also taking your time, to share so much with us right here on Wednesday, which is knowing your rights. We wish that we can make another time so that you can come here and share as much as you can, as also deconstructing the Constitution for people to understand their rights.